Hey, what's up, future millionaires? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a video that takes a little deeper dive into Mullen. So we're going to talk about a few things. The first of which would be Mullen's Bollinger B1 and B2, the SUV and the truck. That's what we're going to talk about. And then secondly, we're going to talk about their just recent asset purchases that they've made, because it may sound confusing to some people. So we'll go through explaining what those were and why were they made, so that way it makes more sense to everyone. And thirdly, we'll talk about the future that it has and the potentials that may be coming up. So let's get into it, guys. This video is very important for you to watch throughout, and make sure you guys, if you have any questions or anything, you can always leave a comment below, and we'll go through it. So firstly, I want to talk about the B1 and B2. So the B1, Bollinger B1, which is the SUV. I mean, it looks beautiful, man. I like that boxy looking trucks. That's why G class, like G wagon from Mercedes, is one of my favorites. But now that I've seen Mullen's Bollinger B1, it's like, wow, I like, seriously, I want one. Anyways, that's besides the point. So B1 is the SUV, B2 is the truck, and this is the only class 3 off-road electrical truck in the world. Just imagine that, right? So which is crazy. The only other thing that I could see probably kind of competing with this would be the Tesla Cybertruck, but who knows when that will be out. They're saying next year, but we'll see, right? They keep saying that. And then someone else was like, hey man, they only took like $100 deposits, that's nothing, they're trying to bump up. No man, Tesla is doing the same thing. They're taking $100 deposit, so it's pretty standard. Anyway, so we also want to look into how these B1 and B2s, the doors and glass are removable. That's crazy. When you remove the doors and I don't know if you guys seen that demo that they've done, but the doors and the glass, they come right off, and it becomes like one of those Jeeps. Pretty cool, man. Good stuff. And when you sit inside, and and you're like looking up at the back seat, or if you're sitting in the front driving, it's like you're almost sitting in like a sunroom. It's like all glass, just like a couple of frames, but it's mainly all glass. Like, the visibility is so nice, and it's going to be so easy to drive these. It's higher up. It's amazing. I love that. And when you look inside um, at the design of the dashboard and all that, it's so minimal, but it's exactly what you need. You don't need all these complicated things. Like, cars are getting more minimal nowadays because things are becoming touch screen, so it's eliminating a lot of like buttons and things like that. So it's kind of normal, but this is like extra minimal. Now, one thing that impresses everyone about the B1 and the B2 is that their capabilities of that of a Hummer H1, not the H2 garbage H3, the H1, the really badass one, right? So that one, so this I seen it go through water, it goes through snow like nothing. It's all terrain, all wheel drive. That's amazing. It has like 614 horsepower, dual motor. The towing capacity, I believe, is 7,500 pounds. That's a lot. Um, that's crazy. It's so capable. Like, the capability is what impresses David, the CEO, a lot more than anything else, I believe. Well, he likes the design too, just like I do too. I mean, how can you not like that design, right? And the truck one, it has a mid gate. So if you open the mid gate and it has like a front thingy that you open, you could actually fit like 16-foot lumber. And I'm in construction, as you can tell. That's my company name. But anyways, so you could fit a 16-foot lumber in it, like 2x16s or whatever, right? For if you're framing something, that's crazy. That's a lot. The most you could fit in other trucks is like an 8 footer or whatever, right? Or you could like bring it up in like maybe 12 foot, but this 16 foot, and you can fit a 12 feet ladder. Once the mid gate is open, it's pretty cool, like the way it opens up, and it's just amazing. So the fact that the capabilities are like that of a Hummer, and the things that it can do, it has a really great potential to take some market share from Humvee, which is used in the military. Now, this is going to be the main focus, I think, for David, because he did mention that he is like he's looking into it. He's not talking a lot about it, but I think his goal is to approach military, our military, and then also like all our allies. That's a lot of countries too. Like they all need new um, these SUVs or whatever trucks for the battlefield, right? So this is great because right now they're using Humvees, and Humvees haven't been innovating with Humvees in the past 30 years. It's been the same thing, right? So that's why something newer is better. And once we start taking some market share from the Humvee, like I heard that the government is looking to replace 120,000 Humvees anyway. So if we take a market share of that, that would be amazing. Like this would take off in the next level because no, everyone is focusing so much on the consumer side. And if there's a company that can focus on the government contracts, like Palantir, for example, that would be amazing. Really, really, the SUV, the more I look at it, the more in love I fall with it. Like it's just, I'm like, wow, like how can it look so sexy and be so capable? And it's amazing. The SUV is my favorite, but also Mullen has the Dragonfly that also looks crazy. It almost looks like a McLaren if you look at the back. Crazy stuff. So anyways, that's something that I'm excited about because I think that they're going to be, if they approach military, it's going to be great. That would have a lot of potential. Now let's talk about the purchases that they've made and how those purchases were made and how this can help them. So what they did is they bought 60% in Bollinger, who I believe were almost going bankrupt or something. So they bought I think their semis and trucks and all that, whatever that's being made there, and most importantly, the B1 and B2, which we just talked about. Those will be made there, and they also um, so they paid $148.2 million for this facility, which is like really really cheap in other terms, right? So that they paid 148 for that. And then the ELMS, the electric last mile that they bought their IP, they bought their inventory, they bought the factory. So they bought all of that, where they used to make Hummer and the Mercedes SUV. It used to be made in that plant, so it used to be owned by GM, and now these guys have that. So they bought that for less than 100. So just do the math, right? $100,000 for that, and 148 for the Bollinger. Those two alone, that's like 200 and almost 248, almost, let's just say 250, $250,000. And Mullen's market cap right now is $126 million or lower at the time of this video. Like that's crazy. Their assets alone exceed their market cap. So just think about that, right? Now Mullen also they have their own uh, the face recognition thing that they have on it's called Persona. So they have their own vehicle assistant thing, and it's on two doors, by the passenger and by the driver. And what it does is that it has facial recognition, and you go close to it, it opens the door. You don't need your phone, you don't need anything. It can work with your family, friends, and all that. But now watch this: if there's someone who's trying to steal your car, or who's lurking around and goes, and this thing catches it and recognizes that this person is lurking or whatever, it's like a thief alert for them, and it tells the guy, hey, listen, I know you're like being awkward or whatever, so I'm recording you. That's crazy. Like that innovation right there, I think it's gonna, and it's a proprietary software for them. So that means that if they've filed any kind of IP on this, or we'll get to the trademarks, but if they've done anything like that, this is crazy. It can, I mean, a lot of other car companies could use this as well, right? And then they have their battery technology, they have the e-commerce, all of that. Like when you count that and look at their market cap right now, like nothing makes sense. All these bears are going to tell you whatever all the BS that they want to tell you. It's because they're short, they have to knock it down so and scare people into selling it. But think about it, this used to be $15, it's like under 50 cents right now, and it has so much potential. Look at Nikola, that thing is, the whole thing was like at least with this, we've seen the test drives and all that, orders quadrupling and all that. Like look at Fisker, look at Fisker doesn't even have a car on the road. Look at their share price. Look at Nikola, it's like a fraud. The guy is going to jail, and the thing is still at like $5 or something, and this is at 50 cents. Like that makes no sense to me. Oh, and these guys just purchased $250 million worth of assets for pennies on the dollar, and they've had their own assets, so you add them up, like, and how much cash they have. Okay, yeah, there is always a possibility of these guys doing a reverse split. um, it is a penny stock, so you have to be very cautious. That's why what I'm telling you is not financial advice. You have to do your own due diligence, and you have to find, okay, look, I'm not gonna, I heard some guys are like, I have 120,000 shares of it. Okay, that's amazing, I'm happy for you guys, like we all prosper the better. um, I like to see people eat, right? But the point is that if you guys are investing, like for me, I don't know if you've watched my other videos, but I talk about other like stocks that I'm invested in. I'm not even done yet. I'm in over 30 something, 37 different stocks. So, but the point is that you can't just put all your money in one basket and into a penny stock, because this thing could reverse split, it could go bankrupt, the guy could be a scam. Any of these are possibilities. So that's why the amount of money that I've put in, it was my profits from another stock. So I'm playing on house money. So if this whole thing goes to zero, I don't care. But if it does end up going up according to my research that I've done on it, then hey man, my research was right, and I'm pretty happy with that. But one more thing about the electric last mile EMS that they purchased for under 100. This facility is capable of making 50,000 cars a year. And this was the former GM where they used to make the Hummer and the Mercedes. So now think about this, right? The purchases that they've made, the factory that they purchased from last mile, if they were to make that themselves, it would have taken them over 3 years, and they would have had to put in $1.3 billion into it. Just imagine that. They just fast tracked themselves 3 years, made themselves capable of making 50,000 extra vehicles just from the last mile factory alone. So just think about all these. Like this is, these are the things that you guys as investors should feel good about, because it's amazing. This is all great stuff. One more thing though, isn't it kind of funny and ironic that I'm sitting behind like a Chevy SS, like with big block V8 standard over 500 horsepower, and I'm talking about like electric car company. That's crazy. But anyway, the irony of that, right? But this is something obviously that I would only take to like car shows and things like that. This is not, and it's something I'm gonna keep for my kid. But a Bollinger B1 SUV that looks beautiful would be something that I would use on a daily basis. You know what I mean? It would be cheaper anyway than what gas prices are right now. And plus, diesel is going to go extinct apparently. So the more that happens, the more demand there is. Like these electrical car companies, they can't even make their cars fast enough because there's so much demand for them that you can't even make them. Like you go right now, try to buy a electric car from one of these companies, you're waiting like a year or two. It's crazy. Now let's talk about the future of Mullen. So one thing that I'm really impressed about, and I when I looked into it, the more I look into it, the more impressed I get is the CEO. Now a lot of people are like, they're like, oh, this guy's a scam, blah blah blah. No, man, he looks like a good guy. Like he is very smart. Like you see, looks are so deceiving because first when I saw this guy, I'm like, wow, this guy looks like one of those, like guys in the mob or whatever, right? Like like a mob enforcer or something like. But this guy, when you hear him talk, you could tell that this guy is highly educated. He knows what he's talking about. He has a goal that he wants to achieve, and he sees the potential. That's why he's like, listen, my long-term goal is to develop the B1 and B2 and get them into the government, right? Like into the military use, to replace Humvees or whatever, or at least not replace it, take a market share. So that's great. That is why looks are deceiving and research is superior. That's why you have to listen to the guy. And apparently, so one more thing about their future that looks bright is that they apparently are going to be making money in 2023. That's in a few months from now, from the iGo that they're selling in Europe. Those small ones for the narrower streets, they're used for delivery. They have lesser mileage, but they are very cheap. So that's what they're doing there. And they have the distribution, selling, and some other licenses for that vehicle. That I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they don't even make this. They it's made somewhere else, and these guys just slap their name on it and sell it. Like how genius is that, right? So that's the thing. And then the other thing that really is impressive is after their test drives, their orders quadrupled. That's a very good sign, right? That's a very, very good sign because people are liking this. And they're also the other impressive thing about it is David was talking about it. He said that, listen, I'm in talks with a lot of the Fortune 500 companies and a lot of like bigger, huge companies that have like thousands of vehicles in their fleet that need to be changed into electrical. And it needs to be changed into electrical because it's cheaper for that company. There's no oil changes, there's no maintenance, like there's very minimal maintenance. And you just charge and go. It's way cheaper than diesel or whatever that they're using now. So those all of these, I think the reason why David is holding back probably and not announcing these is because he's waiting for the market to hit up, not like announce and make these PRs at a time where the market is down so much, right? He wants to basically, once the market moves up and things are good again, that's when he's going to probably announcing a lot of partnerships with a lot of these Fortune 500 companies. There's a bunch of them that he's talking to. So that's a good thing. um, and if they can take some market share from Humvees, that's another, that's a bigger market than anything else. Like whatever that they're doing for consumer, cool. But once they get into government, I know what that's so huge. Because if you look at Palantir stock, and as soon as like they close these deals with the government agencies, they're like in $300 million range and 200 million. Like it's crazy. So I love that. And what better to help us defend our country against whoever that is trying to f with us. So and the other thing, not just that these vehicles are so capable, but they look so amazing, man. I can't get over how sexy these vehicles are. Like it's crazy. That's why in my last video I was like, this thing reminds me so much of Neo, because when Neo came out, they had some serious nice looking cars compared to anything else that was in the market. And all these shorts were like, it's going to zero, it's going to zero. Okay, buddy, it went from like whatever dollar or some to all the way to like 50 something dollars. So don't let like people scare you off, right? The other thing that they are going to be making a lot of money is on the semis. Like they're working with a company in partnership to make a refrigerated semis. So that's going to be huge, because that also has a lot of market, right? And then SUVs by itself, they're in the good, like in North America, especially if you think about it, what sells a lot? Trucks and SUVs. These are the two things that sell a lot because we like bigger cars. So they're in the right category, in the right market, right? And what else was I gonna? Oh yeah, they also, I don't know if you guys seen, but there is 16 trademarks that these guys have filed for. A few of them are newer, but a lot of them are the older stuff. But doesn't matter. I mean, just think about it. There are 16 trademarks, and Mullen 5, the SUV that you guys seen being test drove, that is to be delivered in 2023. So like next year they have so much coming. If they start announcing all these like huge partnerships with Fortune 500 companies, they're making money from the iGo in Europe. Their Mullen 5, the SUVs are being delivered. It's like it's crazy. Yeah, okay. Any company that starts, even Tesla, even GM, Ford, whoever, all these guys, yeah, yeah, there's a chance that the vehicles may get recalled for something, or these are all, like baked in, or, when you open a company, like it could happen. But um, these guys have been around for like 8 years. Bollinger has been around for 10 years, I believe. So they're not like someone who just started making like vehicles in their garage. This is like, these are companies that have been making vehicles. They're in the technology. They're further developing the technology. So it's got a lot of potential. Oh, by the way, I added more today. I don't know if it goes down more. I'm gonna add more, but I just took some more profit, or no, sorry, not profit, but there were some dividends in my account from these companies that I already bought. They paid dividends, and I haven't like switched them into the auto thing. So yeah, I bought more today of Mullen. So uh, I'm not just preaching, I'm walking the walk. So guys, that being said, please make sure I'm not selling anything. I give you all this information, the free research and education that I provide for you guys. I do it because I feel better helping someone, because I know that for stocks there is no college or university or anything that you could go and they can teach you the stuff. So this is, I self-educated myself through YouTube. I was also part of I used to be the top three traders at Deckmark Trades. There was 5,000 people there. I was top three. I was just making calls and mentoring people and stuff like that. So I do have some background when it comes to stocks, and I've also been heavily invested. For like 5 years, like heavily invested. But yeah, so that's why I'm not selling anything. This is all free. The one thing that you guys could do if you want to help out is to like the video, spread the video. So go post this on Reddit. Like, when I post it on stock twits, you guys could repost it when I like once in a while, so new people could see. The more people, and you guys can tag other. I know it's kind of annoying, but like, tag Lucid or whatever. I do it because I don't care. Like, look at what like Fisker and Nicola are doing. I'll rather tag these guys so someone could see this video and they can see all the potential with Mullen. So yeah, the more you guys spread it, the better. And if you guys want me to talk about some other tickers or anything like that, I'm going to be doing a couple more videos on Mullen, because there's some things that I've broken down that I want to talk about. So we'll do that. But in the meanwhile, please like the video, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I'll see you guys on the next one.